Throughout my time here at YouTube, I think the most predominantly asked question that doesn't have anything to do with Warcraft is why I quit school. And the question that I always have in response to the question asked to me is, why don't you? This is kind of a subjective view on what schools are. This is just what I personally think, but I think schools that are just another distraction within the sea of distraction that we call stability for life or whatever. It's the foundation of just distraction. It basically teaches you not to think outside of specific guidelines, not to go past those guidelines, not to, ask why are these people asking me what the capital of ancient Greece was. They don't want you to think that. They want you to think, what is the capital of ancient Greece? They basically just make you mimic back the answer to a question. They don't teach you why they're asking you those stupid, inane questions that really have nothing to do with anything. And this is probably the most commonly viewed flaw with schools that anyone can really see if they just look at it. When in the hell is algebra ever going to be used in the modern world, in the real world, which they say that they're getting you ready for, or whatever their excuse is? I don't know. Let me just tell you my story about what happened to me and why I quit school. Every morning, I would struggle to get out of bed. I would not want to wake up. Of course, this was largely my fault because I stayed up very late because I didn't want the days to end, because I knew that the second that I woke up the next morning I would be in a place where I didn't want to be all day. And I always viewed the weekends as kind of like a grace period between tortures. I never wanted the weekends to end. I would always fret Sunday. I hated it when school was over on Friday because I knew that after the next 2 days I would be going back to school on Monday. So every morning, against my will, I would wake up. Someone in my family would actually wake me up, and I would just roll over and pretend not to hear them. I'd pretend to be asleep, I'd pretend not to hear them. And when the last roll call came by one of them to say, okay, you gotta get up now or you're gonna miss school today, it would always be a 50-50 struggle between me and between the person that everyone wanted me to be. See, I always wanted to stay home and fuck around on the computer all day because that was my ideal day. That was my ideal way of learning things that I thought was necessary to learn. And the person that everyone else wanted me to be would always say, no, you have to get up, you have to go to school right now. If you don't, then you're going to fail, people are going to hate you for the rest of your life, you're never going to get a job, you're never going to get money, all these things that they use scare tactics to try and get you up and to do stuff that you don't want to do. So about 4 to 5 times a week, I let the scare tactics be the louder voice, and I always dragged my lazy dumb ass to school. But it was weird because the second that I got to school, I didn't give a fuck anymore. I just sat there and listened to the teachers yammer on about pointless things that I either already knew or didn't give a shit enough to learn about. And I'd hear the insincerity and the disingenuous little kids at school pretend to be interested or just not give a fuck at all, but still pass for some reason because, they always get their friends to do it for them, and I didn't want my friends to do it for me. I wasn't a cheater like that. I didn't want to push that burden onto them. And this is just a side story, this is a little bit off track, but I remember signing up for grade 8. Grade 8, I signed up for a class called computers. Now, this class, I thought we were going to be dealing with computers. Computer programming, video creating, all these different things that I thought computers were supposed to be. But no, we gotta go back to grade 1 and relearn how to type because people are too fucking stupid and they don't know how to type. So, because of other people's ignorance and blissfulness in the younger grades, and they forget how to type, you ruin it for people who actually want to learn new things in the higher grades and not go back to kiddie school and learn the basics. Congratulations. I always said that just because I don't have a diploma or a piece of paper that states my worth doesn't mean I'm worthless. Because diplomas are really all that's at the end of the rainbow. That's all that people go through the 12 years of stupid pseudo hierarchy for, is that little piece of paper that states that you have a slightly better chance of getting a job now. That's it. It may state in writing that you have the skills and credentials necessary for certain jobs, but if you had those skills and credentials, then you should be able to demonstrate them offhand without any fucking piece of paper that states beforehand that you have them. All high school really is just a big sausage fest of I have more A's than you do, therefore I'm better and I will get more scholarships and my college degree will be better than yours and I'll have an even better chance of getting a job that doesn't suck. High school is there for the fucking A's. If you don't have A's, you are wasting your time. Of course, if your family's rich, then you don't need to go to school at all, and then you can just get your parents to buy your way into a college or into a job or anything like that, because all you need is nowadays is $20,000 that says, oh, my kid can pass your tests or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, I don't give a shit if they pass or not. Oh, money. Also, the insincerity of teachers nowadays is something that needs to be addressed. There are a lot of teachers out there who genuinely care if you don't pass or not. They don't, but there's a lot of them out there, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that about 80% of the teachers out there, they're there for the fucking paycheck. The annoying, loud, totally not worth it, incredibly small as your cock paycheck that's not gonna mean anything in 10 years anyway. Now, my grade 4 teacher was one of the, special 20% of teachers out there who actually care about you. And I'll admit that my grade 4 year was the best year of school that I ever had. It went by quick as shit. And that was also the year where I struck straight A's in everything. It just so happened that grade 4 is the first year that they give out the letter grades, the A's, B's, and C's. And it just so happened that I aced everything that year because my teacher was very good. Now, that set the standard for me to be as good from then on out, and I wanted nothing to do with that. So, in the winter break of, I believe it was 2006, I just told everyone that I said, you know what, I'm done. School is not for me. At the beginning of the year, every year I was at school, I thought it was the biggest slap in the face that they gave you something that they called an agenda. They called it an agenda. That basically stated to me is that they were trying to tell me what my agenda was. They were trying to tell me what my priorities were and what I was supposed to think over something else. And that, I think, really was a focal point for my steady decline in the way of the happy-go-lucky schoolboy that everyone saw me as.